All right. What's up, people? Figgy Ed back with another video in one of my favorite series, Other People Growing Figs Indoors Successfully. This one is about my friend Jeff Peck. He and I met shortly after I started this channel back in February, March of this year sometime in 25. And he and I have been talking since then about different ideas he has, and he has such an amazing brain, a scientifically driven brain, where he comes up with these great ideas, different experiments we could do, and thinking through it with scientific theory and limiting variables. And he has been growing vegetables and other fruits successfully for a very, very long time. He's shown me the pictures. He does some really creative, wonderful stuff there as well. And he's now taking that success, and he's putting his brain onto figs. So a couple of years ago, Jeff got the opportunity to try some figs that were store-bought. Now, you know, store-bought figs, they're gonna taste good if they're right. They're still good. But he had the foresight to say to himself, I'm willing to bet there's other figs out there that are even more exceptional than these. And that was the exact word that he used. Yeah, I emphasize the word exceptional, because if you've been watching fig videos for a while, I don't know, my brain naturally goes when I hear words like exceptional fig, that exceptional cultivar. It makes me think of Lou Monte, and he uses this exquisite fig. You know, he has the most amazing ways of describing figs, and his love and passion for those figs comes right out. So that's when I saw the word exceptional from Jeff, and Jeff did not tell me that he saw Lou videos. I'm making all of this up and tying it all together myself over here, the genius that I am. Oh yeah. So then now Jeff was intrigued by the fig world and all the different varieties out there, and look at his collection now. They got all kinds of different figs, and he is learning. He's putting that scientific mind of his to work, and he's figuring out what works for him. He has a bunch of land. He's, again, putting his brain into figuring out the best figs that he can grow in his area. He's trialing some figs in the type of soil that he has outdoors, seeing what succeeds, what doesn't, putting a lot of good effort and thought into figuring out what works for him the best. And that type of thinking is super important for me. I think it's important for the whole fig community, is trying to get a better understanding of exactly what drives what. So my man, we've been talking about growing figs indoors, and now he has a setup that is bigger than mine. I am proud and honored to say I am so impressed by what he's got going on. It's absolutely beautiful. So I know that many of you are saying, well, what if I don't have this gigantic space where I can grow figs indoors? Absolutely. You don't need a giant space to grow figs indoors. Well, if you want to do 20 or 30 trees like I'm doing, you're going to need a giant space probably, or a bunch of small spaces. But I'll show you. I'm going to do some videos soon to walk through I have 3 different areas in my house where I have figs set up. One of them is a small 10-foot by 5-foot by 4-foot area, and that's my indoor Angelito. And I've had over 300 figs from this tree. I'll show you a couple other areas. One of them is a gigantic area, so you get a little bit of that. And another one is this area downstairs where you can look at it as 2 small little independent areas, but I am getting some very sweet figs down there. I was getting some sweet figs using not a lot of lighting as well. It's all about how far away the light is from the fig tree. So there's definitely a lot of possibilities. There's a lot of different ways you could set up your space to make sure that you're getting some sweet figs. And it depends on what you're working with. So if you have a small space and you're working with a small budget, you could still do it. If you have a small space and a big budget, then you could do it a different way. There's just so many different ways to slice and dice it. It comes down to a few different important things, and the lighting is a giant aspect of that. I'll share some more videos where we get into a deeper dive there into your space opportunities. You know, when I first started this channel, people were telling me, you know, nobody's doing this. You got the biggest setup going on. I am so happy to say that those days are going to end. Okay, well, maybe I'm holding on to the record for the most outlandish setup, I guess, because you walk into my house and you're just greeted with figs, boom, right in the open. There's no separate room, there's no grow room, there's no tents, there's just like, there's figs. There's figs right there where the dining room should be, and right up the stairs, there's a giant forest that has tons of wattage, 2,000 watts on it. So maybe I'll keep the record for that, the open space record. But I'm looking for the person that's going to beat me there too. Come on, let's do it. If I can do this, anybody can. So my man Jeff now has this beautiful room designated to growing figs indoors. He has beautiful lights set up. Let's go take a look at what he's got going on.
Jeff Peck here with Area 51 Figs here in Splendora, Texas. Just thought I'd provide you a brief update. As you know, been putting together a fig grow room for the last couple of months. Thought I'd give you an update on some of the progress and just a basic overview. I'm currently running 3 Sparty Farmer SF 4000 lights as well as a G3000 light to really light the area. I currently have several varieties that have responded quite well to the indoor grow lights. As an example, the Colder Dom Ramada. This thing is just looking fantastic and taken off since moving indoors. The same can be said about White Madeira number 1. This thing 2 months ago was the size of the little cutting right beside it. It has just responded quite well. As you can see, I'm fighting a bit of fig mosaic virus, but it's surprising how well these plants are doing even with the virus. One standout on exceptional growth since moving it indoors is this Black Madeira KK. For about 4 months I had this thing outdoors and just pretty much installed. All it had was this growth on it. It wasn't doing nothing. But since moving it indoors 2 months ago, as you can see, this thing has just exploded. It's obviously enjoying the lights, the fertilizer, and obviously the cool temperatures. One thing I've noticed is my De La Sonora Hibernica has a substantially different leaf pattern compared to my outdoor plant. It has more of a spade type leaf. As you can see, the plant beside it is starting to get a typical 5-lobe leaf like what I see outdoors, but I find it's a bit unique and just a subtle difference from the indoor lighting. I moved my Colonel Littman's Black Cross indoors. They were starting to get some figs late in the season. I haven't had a chance to enjoy them yet, so I said, what the heck, might as well just move it under the lights. Trying to enjoy a few fruits this winter. I'm also using an air scrubber with a carbon charcoal filter on it to really keep the plant smell at bay. It's done a tremendous job keeping any plant smell just inside the grow room. I also have a small area that's not directly under the lights, set up just for primarily rooting cuttings. I want to keep the light off of them so I don't have any top growth, try and get the roots more established. I've lost a few cuttings just due to the top growth taken off before the roots were well established. I want to see if I get a better propagation rate. Additionally, here's a brief update on the hydroponic tower. This is a home-built system. This is the second run I'm doing with it. The first run I've had mixed results in. What I've found is the hardwood cuttings tended to not do so well, but the younger, greener cuttings seem to root much better. So as you can see, just looking at the cuttings, there's quite a few green cuttings, mostly green, semi-lignified green cuttings. I'm going to try it a little bit different this time and see how well those do. It is important to note though, if you're going to run hydroponics, you're going to need several tools. You need buffer solution, you're going to need calibration gauges to be able to calibrate or check the pHs, check an EC meter to check nutrient level in the soil, in the water, a temperature gun to really monitor the water temperature. It has a tendency to start to run a little hot under the lights. But as you know, the hydroponics is going to be a work in progress for the next few months or even year. There's very little information in regards to figs unlike YouTube, so it's a lot of trial and error. A little frustrating, but we'll work through it. I'm currently running the hydroponic tower more as a drip system instead of a flooded bed for the cuttings, just to be able to expose the cuttings to more oxygen. In theory, they should root better, but we'll see how that actually turns out. There's still a lot of unknowns and a lot of limited information. In closing, still a lot of work to do to make the setup a bit more user-friendly. Still got to sort out a better watering system. Carrying these on 1 gallon jugs gets to be a bit old, but it's just going to be a work in progress for months or years to come.
What a nice setup, huh? Isn't that room so nice and clean and ordered well? And he's really doing some excellent work over there. I'm willing to bet he is going to be eating figs this winter. All those trees are little baby trees. They're still young, but I bet you they're going to be so happy in that room. They're going to just start giving us all kinds of stuff. And I'm really looking forward to what else Jeff comes up with. He's got plenty of ideas. He just comes up with one idea after the other, things that he could test everywhere in the cuttings area, in the hydro area. You saw he's doing all kinds of great stuff with that. So I'm excited to see more. I believe Jeff will potentially be starting his own channel at some point. Until then, you can see more here. All right, folks, more to come.